Hi, Jenica here, and welcome to Sage's Nursery. Today we are going to be making macrame bow holders, which I am so excited about. I actually filmed this video like a few weeks before she was born. 2 weeks before she was born, actually. So if you notice I'm pregnant, very pregnant in the video, that's why I'm not pregnant again. Yeah? Do you want to tell them something? Should we just jump right into it? Let's make a bow holder. Although you can buy bow holders online, I wanted to make my own for 3 reasons. The first being that I already had macrame string sitting around to be used. Number 2 was that I have an infinite number of bows, like we're talking hundreds of bows that I have inherited from friends and family, mainly because I have a lot of nieces. And a lot of the storage options online just didn't have the storage capacity that I needed, so I wanted to make something custom that could hold a lot of bows. And then the third reason I made my own was just because it sounded fun and I wanted to learn some macrame. Now, I am a total newbie to macrame. This is my first macrame project. So if you are interested in learning, this is a good one to start out with. I'll be honest, I had no idea what I was doing, so I looked up some different macrame techniques as far as the braiding goes, and then just kind of figured out my own way to attach the dowels and sort of made it up as I went. So I'm here to kind of share what I've learned and walk you through that process step by step. For this project, you will need macrame string, 5 wooden dowels, bow hooks, and scissors. Now, the first thing I knew that I was going to need for this project were dowels, so I cut 1/4 inch dowels to 18 inches in length, and I needed 5 of them. I wanted to do 5 tiers, but you could adjust that as needed or desired. Next, you're going to want to cut your macrame string. I would cut it pretty long pieces, but keep it manageable, keeping in mind that you can add more string at each dowel as needed. So as long as you have enough string to get to the next dowel, you should be good. Now, I made each strand 10 inches long, but you're going to need a lot more string than that because you are tying little tiny knots, which takes up quite a bit of string in between each dowel. Next, I folded my string in half and created a loop right in the middle. Then I wrapped it around the dowel and pulled the string through the other side. And that is how I initially attached the string to the very first dowel. Now, you're actually going to need to do this for 2 strands. So you need 2 strands of string on each side. Next, you're going to use a square knot over and over again to create a spiral braid, and it kind of reminds me of a piece of DNA. It's kind of cool looking. There are different braid options out there though, so if you didn't love this particular macrame strand, I would just recommend looking up macrame techniques. There's really great macrameers, is that a word? People who do macrame out there who will show you tons of different techniques, so you could totally choose a different type of knot or braid to do to get the look that you want, but this is what I chose, and I'd say it's very beginner friendly and super simple. To start, you're going to grab the left side strand and cross it over your 2 middle pieces. Then you'll grab your right side strand and you're going to cross it over the tail and then under the 2 middle pieces. You'll pull it through the left side loop so that both pieces of string are crossing over the 2 middle pieces. Then you're going to pull it tight, just making sure those 2 middle pieces don't bunch up as you go. So you just want to straighten those out as you go. You're going to repeat this knot over and over again, always starting with the left side. If you want your strand to be straight and not spiraled, you would switch off, crossing the right side over the top and then the left side over the top. But we're going to just keep crossing the left side over the top and the right side under, and that way it'll create a spiral effect as we go. And you'll just kind of work it into a spiral as you move along. You'll just kind of help guide it. Now, this is super simple. Just repeat it until you have your desired length. I made my strands, like I said, 10 inches long before adding another dowel. Now, you could adjust this accordingly, but I felt like this was a pretty good length to give my bows room to hang and not overlap with the row below. Now, as you're going, it will get tricky to keep track of which side is truly the left side and the right side, so you can kind of flatten out your spiral for a second if you lose track and need to see which side is really the left side, because as it's twisting, it's a little bit deceiving. If you lose track, you can also trace your finger along, starting at the top and down your spiral to see, okay, yes, this piece is supposed to be the left piece, because it won't always look like the left side as you're spiraling. Once you are ready to attach another dowel, the easiest thing I could think of was to simply take my 2 furthest left pieces and tie them in a simple knot. And then I took my two furthest right pieces and also tied those in a simple knot. Now this works pretty well, although I will say sometimes my dowel will kind of slide out and it's easy to stick back in, but if you wanted to prevent this, I would just put a rubber band on one side or a little dab of hot glue just to kind of keep it in place and keep it from sliding in or out of your knot. Then you're just going to proceed to make that same knot over and over again, starting with the left side, looping over the two middle pieces, then looping the left side or the right side underneath and pulling through, and you'll just do that on repeat once again. Once you get past your last dowel, you're going to want to continue to macrame for another 2 or 3 inches, and then from there cut 2 or 3 inches down. You're going to leave these strands at the bottom to unravel. Now I did it with my finger, but I think a comb would be even easier, so you could just comb through the little strands to separate them, and this just adds a little bit of decoration to the bottom. Now I realized when I did it my camera stopped recording, but I wanted to show you how to add more string if you run out. I simply just tied it on like I did on the first dowel, so I just got 2 new strands, tied it on, and then just kind of tucked the last over a little bit into the part that I was macrameing. This is what it looks like complete. Remember, this process I just showed you, you're going to have to do on both sides. Now to actually hang your bows, you're going to need some hooks. I got this pack of 120 on Amazon and the hooks fit pretty well, but I was a little bit nervous about them falling off and the dowel was just slightly too big for this loop, so I actually got pliers and bent it around the dowel and then kind of secured it so that there was no gap for them to fall off. I didn't want them to be a choking hazard. With all the bows on it, the bow holder was a little too heavy for command strips, so I did pound nails into the door, which are also not holding super great, so I actually want to adjust and maybe use some of those screw hooks in the door, and I think that will help. I put it on the door. You could hang it on a wall, you could hang it in the closet from a rod, however you want, but I hope this tutorial was helpful. My name is Jenica and I make home-centered content designed to inspire creativity and resourcefulness, so things like crafting, decorating, DIY, and organization. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe because I have more videos coming your way. See you in the next one.